Hello, so for my lesson, I decided to talk about Little Miss Muffet, or how to teach the elements of a story in just 6 lines. So, why do I want to teach Little Miss Muffet? Well, it's pretty easy. First off, it's short and it breaks down really easily. Secondly, seniors, they enjoy being kids again. And thirdly, I'm a terrible artist, so they get a chance to laugh at me a little bit while we learn stuff at the same time. So my essential question is, how do the various elements of a story work together to progress a piece of literature? Which sounds kind of complicated, especially if all you're going to do is use Little Miss Muffet. The teaks, well, there's a lot in them, but basically it's teaks 5, A and B, and it has to do with figuring out how the character's motivation and his actions work together to move along a piece of story. I've discovered this is a really quick and easy way to review things that they should already know before you dive into things like Beowulf, Hamlet, Frankenstein, etc., etc. You can also use this if you really want to teach other things in history and current events or historical events. Yeah, everything has a purpose. Everybody's got a motive, so this is a great way to kind of review what those motives could be and how to find them. The best thing to do first off, though, is make sure you give them a piece of paper, have them divided into fours, and then all you want to do is make sure you write down the different elements of a short story, unless you really enjoy spelling words repeatedly. It's not one of my favorite things to do. So I always write down words like exposition, heading, resolution, theme, plot, antagonist, protagonist, climax, internal conflict, external conflict, theme, the basic words that you have in short stories and any other piece of work. Okay, so then once you have your paper done, once you have it all divided up, I tell them the story of Little Miss Muffet. Well, everybody knows that Little Miss Muffet sat on her tuffet eating her curds away. And, well, as you can see, my drawing is not very well. I always make it a hill because, well, a tuffet is either a stool or it could be a little clump of something. So I decided to make a little clump of grass that she's sitting on top of a hill because it's more fun. So I draw Little Miss Muffet. I have her eating her curds and whey, and so we talk a little bit about what that is, which is always fun because it grosses out the kids. And that's where you can actually introduce your exposition, because that's where you meet the protagonist and you figure out what the plot is and you figure out what the setting is, and you get all that part done. That all goes in the first square. The second square is where you actually have your rising action and your suspense, because, well, guess who you meet? You get to meet the spider, which is the antagonist, unless you're like me and you like spiders. So the antagonist comes along, and then you have a conflict, internal and external, because she's kind of freaking out because of a spider possibly, and you get to figure that out. Next, you have the climax, because it sits down beside her, and that's where you have to make a choice. And a climax, as everybody knows, is the point of a story in which something has to be decided, and because of the decision that's made, there's a change throughout the rest of the story. So I like to have the little spider sit down next to her, and as you can tell, my artwork is definitely not one of my strong points, which is why I'm an English teacher. And the last section is where you have your falling action and you have your resolution. It's also where you can talk about theme, point of view, and all of those other things that you might not have already talked about. So I always try to draw a little, running away and a little stool. I always like to put because she's scared of the spider, and the spider just kind of laughs at her. In my drawings, usually they get a kick out of that. Okay, and then you also have to, put over there on the other side that, well, her porridge is all spilt out on the ground, and it's a big mess. The kids enjoy drawing, I've found, and so it gives them a chance to be a little artistic and to get a good laugh at me. This is a great way to review 13 different elements of a story and then use them later on for other things as well. And it's quick and easy. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed it.